Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Jedi In Exile. We're here again, in person. We're talking about Andor. We're currently on episode 8, which is entitled Nobody Is Listening. And Matt, I think we're all listening to Andor now.
Oh.
It's getting spicy.
It is getting spicy.
Just before we get in on all the action of episode 8, just want to remind everybody to like the video, like the page, subscribe, all the great stuff that we want you to do. And thanks for the support so far. So Matthew, episode 8, talk me through your main talking points and what you took from it.
So, interesting one. When I kind of saw the whole set in a prison, thought,
they're all so clean, aren't they?
Yeah,
The architecture
it's space
is-
prison. It's space prison. But no, I thought on a whole it was a really good episode. There wasn't kind of tons going on, but I do feel like we saw into some of the other characters a little bit more rather than just Cassian.
Yeah.
So we're learning more about kind of like Vel and is it Cinta?
Yeah. It was a longer episode, wasn't it? It was about 52 minutes, I think, runtime.
Yeah. That was really cool. And finally, we got some answers around the whole kind of... In all the build-up, we saw this big thing with Cyril and... is it Dedra, the ISB agent, as like two of the main kind of villains of the series. And we actually finally got like them in the same room.
Interaction, because you I think we definitely got the impression, or I certainly did, that they are going to at some point team up, aren't they? Yes. Clearly they don't like... He's trying to impress her. She doesn't really like him. She sees him as like, something under her shoe.
A little bit irritating.
Yeah, almost like a little brother kind of thing. But clearly they're going to have this, relationship where these...
There was some tension.
There was some tension.
All of you at home shipping it. We know it. So no, I thought it was cool to see that sort of stuff. Big old nod to some fans with the one and only Andy Serkis making a return to Star Wars.
Yeah, now we know where Snoke came from.
Do you know what? I've seen a bunch of theories flying about online that people are like, "Is this the Snoke origin that we never got?" I'm gonna go out there and say no, it's not, and that it is just a little. You didn't know it was Andy Serkis when he was playing Snoke. Like, this is him.
I think it's nice because a lot of actors want to. It's hard for the Star Wars creators, producers, etc. Because a lot of famous people probably want to be in Star Wars, don't they? But they can't have a big part in Star Wars because it would overtake the film and the almost so. Yeah, you've got like Daniel Craig as a stormtrooper.
Yeah,
you just hear his voice.
You don't want big names necessarily being big characters.
No, absolutely not. So Daniel Craig, like, you don't actually see him; you just hear his voice. Well, if you see James Bond in, was it The Last Jedi? Was it? I feel like it was Last Jedi, wasn't it? He was in.
Was it not Force Awakens when she's getting interrogated? It's Force Awakens.
Is it with the interrogator? I thought it was Last Jedi. Okay, so Force Awakens. You've got Prince William and Prince Harry.
Yeah.
They were stormtroopers as well, although Harry seems like he'd be a little short for a stormtrooper.
Yeah, well,
But yeah, I think this Andy Serkis thing is interesting because he's obviously a well-known actor, done so many famous parts, and obviously he's already been in Star Wars in the sequels. But I like it because he's probably only going to be in this for maybe like 1, 2, 3. I mean, we don't know how many episodes. We don't know if he's going to be a big character, but you'd assume not. It's just nice. Again, it's like almost like a little nod, isn't it? To us fans. So yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, no, I thought it was cool, and obviously I think that actually leads us really nicely onto another big name that we saw return, which was Forest Whitaker returning as Big Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, he's back.
Which, do you know what? I think when he got asked to be in, or cast in Rogue One, he probably didn't think that he would be, like, used in a game, now in a series, and potentially if Andor gets a second series, or, no one knows where we're going with this, there's every possibility that he becomes like more of a
Saw Gerrera is clearly a legend in the rebellion. I know he's on like a far end of the spectrum in terms of
extremist.
He is definitely, but he's a legend within the rebellion, and obviously we're now entering an era where we're finding out more about the rebellion, more about the in between episode 3 and episode 4. So yeah, I think there's a lot of scope for more Saw Gerrera. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Obviously, we saw a lot of him in Clone Wars, or I say we saw a lot of him. We saw a lot of his backstory from Clone Wars, and maybe what might have made him become an extremist. And obviously, Fallen Order, he plays quite a role in that. So it's nice, really, really good that we've got him back.
Yeah, definitely. We also got Tay Colmer came back. He's the guy who in our last review I couldn't think of his name.
Yes, yeah, the guy from The Crown.
Yeah, Mon Mothma's friend.
Yeah.
So we're kind of
like sweetheart. You get the kind of impression.
Yeah. There's definitely more there than they were just friends. But kind of he's come back, and I get the impression. I kind of thought when we saw him in the last episode, he would maybe be in that, disappear, and then maybe get a name drop every now and then that was kind of he's dealing with stuff. He's dealing with stuff. But he's actually back. Again, to me, suggests that he might be a recurring character for the rest of the series, the way that they're kind of setting it.
I feel like just the conversation that they had, obviously, the fact that in the last episode, the fact that Mon Mothma can't really trust anybody else, and she's chosen to basically tell her biggest secret, the thing that could destroy her family, destroy her planet, potentially, all these different bits and pieces, and she's decided to trust him with that information. So I get the impression he's going to be quite important. Because, what is he? Is he, he's good with numbers, isn't he? What is it he actually...
I don't know what he actually does. I don't know if he's a banker, if that was a sly kind of
Yeah, because didn't she mention something about him with money? Obviously, Mon Mothma comes from a rich family anyway, and I feel like he's part of a rich family. But
yeah, I kind of got that impression.
So yeah, he's obviously some kind of professional or something. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where that goes, and if he is somebody who's coming to Coruscant more, or whether he's staying back home.
And kind of talking about money and rich stuff, very interesting kind of, I'm going to say revelation. I don't know if it is or not, but the way that it was said, I don't know how many people kind of picked up on it, that we obviously got Vel and Cinta back, and they're on Ferrix.
Yeah, they're hunting Andor, aren't they?
Kind of staking out the planet, keeping an eye on what's going on. And Cinta made that comment about something about being a rich girl running away from it all or something. Yeah. So... I think there's more behind the whole Vel story than necessarily we thought in the first place.
Yeah, I wonder whether there's going to be a bit more to that, and whether... I don't know what kind of connection she's going to have maybe to other characters, but it certainly seems like that just throwaway line, and it was you who spotted it actually, that kind of throwaway line could be that she maybe has run away from maybe a rich family, and she's now part of the rebellion, and she's staked out. She says in one of the... when she first meets Andor, they've been eating nuts and berries for 3 months.
Yeah, she's been slumming it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well and truly.
So I think the fact that maybe she's from a rich family, maybe that would get her some more respect as well. Maybe that's why she's respected in that group, because she's given up the high life.
So I thought it was cool. As I said, I feel like this episode was really kind of about rounding out some of the storylines and maybe kind of letting us know about some of the other characters. Yeah. Obviously, we got more Mon Mothma.
Yeah. A bit more of the ISB as well.
Yeah, exactly. Which
the inner workings of it, which is, it's not really that interesting as such, but I find it fairly interesting because it shows the inner workings of the Empire, the actual day-to-day. We know that from the, the originals that there's an Emperor, there's Stormtroopers, and there's a Death Star, and then a second one. We don't really understand, how it affects people's lives. So of course I think the end of the last episode where Andor is captured by the what's his face, the C2 K2SO, you kind of see that fear, that you can hear people screaming, and they're literally just running through the streets, just picking people up, and he is innocent. So it's interesting to see that how clearly that's how the rebellion is formed, and that's what Luthen wants, isn't it? He wants people to be so afraid that they rise up.
Yeah, eventually. He says something to Saw, which I think he is kind of a repeat, very similar repeat to something that he said in the previous episode as well, which is about the harder they come down on us, and the stricter the oppression, the more people will fight back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that seeing the kind of day-to-day workings of the Empire shows how this will be built up into a full-scale rebellion, because we're still not at this point in time in the timeline. I don't think we can say we're at a full-scale rebellion.
No, well, we got the kind of again through the conversation with Saw,
isn't it?
Yeah, through the conversation with Saw, we kind of got he's leading some guys, and then there's other people out there leading other people, and there's all these different factions, and Luthen seems to be the sort of person that's trying to kind of pull them together and at least organize them in some way, shape, or form, get
like
them
a
working
link between
together.
them all. Yeah, because I noticed in the last episode, Saw had a blue X-wing, didn't he? I think outside where he was, where Luthen had gone to see him.
Yeah.
There was a blue X-wing, which was part of Blue Squadron, which are all eliminated at the Battle of Scarif.
Yeah.
In Rogue One. So, because there's just a famous tidbit about that I was reading, that the reason why there's a red and gold squadron, originally there was going to be red and blue squadron in A New Hope, but the blue squadron messed with the blue screen. So they couldn't have it. So that's why it's red and gold, and that's why they put in Rogue One, well, obviously the technology's a lot better.
Yeah.
They put Blue Squadron in that and
as
eliminated them all.
As like a little...
So seeing the blue X-Wing, I forgot to mention it on the last episode, but that was just something that was just, for me, I was like, oh, that's cool.
But no, like, obviously the episode kind of ramped to the like stuff on Ferrix. We got to see Marva, who's obviously not very well. And Bix kind of sticking her neck out a little bit to send a message.
Yeah.
And then at the very, very end of the episode, her getting pulled in for interrogation.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think the whole episode kind of ended with Cassian in the factory actually kind of bedded in to the team, like properly working on stuff. So I'm really interested to kind of see where we go. Obviously, there's going to be some fallout from Bix being interrogated.
And there's a scene as well, isn't there, with Luthen and his assistant. So when Bix is trying to communicate, obviously that's
with the assistant saying,
to the
like,
shop, isn't it?
Turn it off.
And saying, we've got to literally leave them. And he's obviously worried about Andor maybe being a link back to him, back to Mon Mothma, like, and because they're having a bit of an argument, aren't they? Like, she's saying, like, you're getting sloppy or something. So clearly, as it's getting to the more like business end of what they're doing, he's becoming maybe a bit more panicked, a bit more just not thinking about it, not taking a step back. He's maybe a bit emotional. He's in the the middle of it all,
whatever it takes to get it done, rather than thinking about we need to do this logically.
Yes, So she kind of like reins him in with this.
Definitely.
So I'll be interested to see where we go from here. So we've got 4 more episodes left.
Yeah, this was
8, so 9, 10, 11, 12. So only 4 more episodes left. So I wonder how this is going to set up the finale.
So obviously ramp into something big, right? Like it's going
to. Absolutely.
That brings us lovely kind of round to a conclusive time to give scores.
Yeah.
Hit me with it.
So I'm going to go for a 7.5.
Okay.
Which has been, I think, my score for the last few of these. Because again, I feel like we are building to something. And I like it when I see it's like a 50-minute episode. I like that we get to see, because it means you can explore different people's stories. It's not just Andor and maybe someone else. You can do 4 or 5 like story, people's stories in the episode. You can have maybe 5 or 10 minutes on each of them.
Well, it's developed all these different characters, hasn't it? Like we've seen things move on for everybody and still had the ability to cut back to Cassian and see what's going on with him.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So I think it's 7.5 for me. I mean, clearly, like I say, they're building to something. This episode wasn't really eventful in too many ways, but I feel like there was a lot of things where you're like, that makes sense. So that's why that happened. And so, I'm comfortable with a 7.5.
Okay. I'm going to go 8. Which I think is exactly what I did before. So 7.75. But I mean, again, for me, it's the same sort of thing. Like, we're obviously building to something. We've not quite hit the kind of the high, the crescendo.
No.
But we are getting there. We're into the business end of the series.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had the little kind of more chilled episode off the back of the kind of what we called the mid-season finale in episode 6. We're now starting to ramp back up, and I genuinely, this is one of those where I would love to sit here and go, I think this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen. I have no idea what's about to happen, but I'm super excited to find out.
Yeah, I don't know which way they're going to go, because there are so many different ways that you could go with this, but obviously they're clearly going to end probably on a cliffhanger to set up, season 2. So, yeah, I always wonder when they decide they're going to like sign off on a season 2. Like, have they waited? Because the first 3 or 4 episodes of Andor weren't that greatly received. So if you went off the back of that, you'd be like, well, no, we're not going to do another series. So I wonder when the producer, or if even, you know, after it's gone to post-production, they're like, yeah, this is going to be good enough for a season 2. Like, be interested. But no, super, super exciting. So guys, let us know what you think in the comments after watching the episode. Is there anything you think we've missed? Any Easter eggs that we maybe didn't catch from the episode? Please do let us know. We're always interested to hear your views, comments, etc. And remember, like I said at the start, like, subscribe, click the notification bell, share to your friends, tell everybody at work, put it on a notice board, do everything you can to get this show out there.
And other than that, guys, all that is left to say is we'll see you all real soon in the next one.
May the force be with you all.